My name is Samantha Francois. I'm an assistant professor in the School of Social Work at Tulane University. I'm also one of the executive directors of the Violence Prevention Institute. The way in which Beloved has impacted my work is through their expertise and their work around participatory action research. I initially learned about and then reached out to Beloved, given what I'd learned about their work, specifically through NOLA Cares and the ways in which they were implementing participatory action research in the NOLA Cares program. And as I was developing out my own youth violence prevention research projects, I wanted, or rather not wanted, but thought up the idea of using participatory action research methods with youth as a means of reducing their exposure to violence. Other piece of that is that as a researcher, I do community engaged and community-based participatory research, which by definition for me means I'm doing my research in partnership with the communities for whom the research is supposed to be about, for, and with. And when I saw Beloved Communities' values and missions, and I was like, this is it, this is perfect, right? They are centering these communities, these populations who have been historically marginalized and presently marginalized and oppressed, and really giving them the platform and in a very specific way using research as a way for them to have a platform for power around changing the conditions and the circumstances that are marginalizing and oppressing them. And so for me, in the context of my work, I focus on the conditions that create the situations that young people find themselves in when they are exposed to as victims or perpetrators of gun violence in their neighborhoods or bullying in schools. So how can we get young people, and not just hearing their voice, but getting them working on what are the structural and systemic action steps we can lead and take to make those kinds of changes in our neighborhoods, in our schools, and in our community. I want to see if I could partner with them on this, youth violence prevention project idea that, I didn't dream up. It's definitely rooted in research evidence on what works for youth violence prevention. Not enough of it had been really fueled by youth voice and youth leading it and centering how youth conceptualize their experiences of violence and the contexts that make them vulnerable. And not enough of the evidence that we know of around the causes of youth violence or youth exposure to violence and what works to prevent it was coming from young people. And so the project I wanted to do, I wanted it to come from young people. I want to know how they conceptualize and experience the challenge of violence in their neighborhoods and in their schools, and what they believe the solutions to be. And then for me to provide, me and other adults that are doing this work, the means for them, the avenues for them to be a part of that change and leading that change.